At the time of this video's release, Fire Emblem Warriors has been released internationally to the clamor of many patient fans waiting for this game. And, well, the reception has been kind of meh in all honesty. However, there is one common complaint that many have with the game, and that is the quantity of units that use swords in the game. A vast majority of the roster in Fire Emblem Warriors uses swords. However, this isn't the only game that I feel is guilty of this fault. What's up guys, it's your weapon of choice, the Omniblade here to give you guys a different video from what I've done for the last few top 5s. As for my top 5s, what I've been doing is giving my opinions on units that I like or just feel have been made forgotten in this game. In that first video I did where I talked about what I thought were the 5 most forgotten units in the game, a lot of people had some comments to say about certain other units. This isn't a direct response to those, but given a lot of the comments on those videos and the fact that Fire Emblem Warriors released recently, I thought it was fitting to make this video now. Also, with the fact that we just got 3 S-tier sword units added into Heroes recently, I think you can see why I wanted to delay my top 5 sword units video. So, I think I'm going to have to address a few things in this video, because when I say irrelevant sword units, here's what I really mean. When I say a unit is irrelevant, I mean that they have been replaced by just stronger variants of themselves. Originally in the top 5 Forgotten Heroes video, I implied that the heroes were remembered for some sort of aspect that made them unique, or just impressive in their own way. A lot of people didn't really seem to get that, so I had to deal with a lot of people not really paying attention in the comments. I understand that it's only a vocal minority that is making these comments, however, it's still something I want to mitigate as much as possible. So, I want to make 100% clear what I mean when I say irrelevant sword units. What I mean is that I feel that there are units that outright are superior or have just replaced these units in terms of their utility. A lot of sword units in the game feel redundant just because they share similar archetypal roles, and outright some of them are just going to be better than others by nature. That is what I mean when I say a sword unit on this list is irrelevant. Another thing I want to address is the fact that I won't be using any heroes footage from the game itself, mostly because of the fact that there is one hero on this list which I don't have, and I just figured it'd be better to just get a list of their stats on screen to show why I feel they are so redundant compared to other units. If this comes off as lazy to you, I apologize, I just thought it would be better for the sake of consistency, and it makes things a bit easier on my end considering I've had a long week with midterms, therefore it makes it easier for me to edit this stuff in post. With that being said guys, this explanation has gone on for long enough, and I hope you guys enjoy watching the rest of this video. Now, this list doesn't have any particular order to it, so I'm just going to start off with the unit that I feel got the most comments on my original top 5, and that is Eliwood. Eliwood is easily the worst sword cavalier in all of Fire Emblem Heroes, as he is the only one that is available at 3-star rarity, and I think it's clear to see why. Eliwood is a res-focused cavalier, and that is just not something you really want to be. Every other sword cavalier outclasses him. Kain, Xander, Daddy Zygarde, as I'm going to keep calling him, just his own son destroys him in terms of utility. Brave Roy being the best offensive cavalier in the game, it is sad how much better he is than his father. I mean, even if you give Eliwood his optimal stats, he'll have 50 attack at a plus attack boom, which I personally feel is his best. I think it's better than the speed he gets because Hone Cavalry can just fix his lack of speed, but his stats overall are just so weak. His low HP doesn't really help with res tanking either, since mages are just complete nukes and blue mages are absolutely disgusting. In terms of physical bulk, he doesn't have any. His defense is atrocious, his speed is too slow, and really all he is just one giant meat cutter. He's just a unit that can get in one good strike thanks to his Durandal with Death Blow 2 built into it, effectively being a 20-might weapon, but that's all he is. He can hit hard once, probably not double anything unless it's an armor unit, and then he gets blown back in the enemy phase. Eliwood just never stood a chance. He was never relevant, never good, and that's why he was never on the original top 5. Eliwood makes it on this list just because there were so many better units than him, especially in terms of Red Cavaliers, and that is why I feel he has been replaced utterly. Especially by his son, no less. That's just disgraceful. The next unit I'm going to talk about on this list is the unit that prevented me from using Heroes footage in the first place, and that is Alm. Alm is the worst falchion user in the game, and he came in after Marth, Chrom, not Math Lucina, but actually wasn't, I think he came in, yeah, no, his banner came in before Mass Lucina, but Mass Lucina was available soon after. Basically just, when you have a free Lucina available to you, why the hell would you ever use Alm aside from you really liking him? I mean, it's the same issue with Eliwood, except he's not really res focused, he's just pure all-out offensive. Unlike with Eliwood, I would absolutely say Alm's best stat is going to be attack for a boon, and of course he's going to have a res bane because his res is pretty garbo, all things considered. But even with that, I think it's Alm's gimmick that just really hampers him in terms of usefulness as a unit. Alm, as of the time I'm making this video, is the only unit in the game with Wind Sweep. I think it was with Alm's banner they started introducing the sweep skills into the game, as we had Faye with Fire Sweep Bow, and Alm having the exclusive Wind Sweep skill. The weapons for sweep skills are pretty damn good, but when you look at the skills, it's just why? Wind Sweep and Water Sweep, just these skills aren't good. And even when you just look at Alm's stats, he's got 30 speed, way slower than Mass Lucina. His attack is pretty damn high, but I mean, that's all you've got. His bulk, again, bad. He's too slow. He doesn't have much physical bulk in terms of defense. He's got 28, which is nice, but I mean, he's gonna get doubled by a lot of things, especially blue mages, just like with Eliwood. His HP is solid, yes, so I guess if you were to give him an HP plus 5 Sacred Seal, yeah, you could probably panic deploy him, but in terms of falchion users, you've just got so many better options. And that is why I say Alm has also been replaced, even though he came in after all the good units were added. Wow, that makes him even sadder a unit. Now that we've gotten some royalty out of the way, let's look at a more plain unit, as we're going to talk about Drog now. Now, Drog was actually a really competent red armor unit, mostly because of the fact that he has the best defense in the game, period. I think that's still uncontested to this day, which is very interesting. I could be completely wrong though, so someone correct me if I am. I have not done research for this clearly, but what I can say is that Drog was the fastest armor in the game before Black Knight Amelia got introduced, and that was Drog's niche. He actually had solid bulk, decent speed for an armor unit. I mean, when you think of armors, you think really slow units like Hector and Effie, but they had balance in their good bulk and just raw power. Drog has his Brave Sword, and he could double a crap ton of decent units with the proper buffs, but when you look at what Black Knight and Amelia did, as I've already mentioned, you see why he gets outclassed. Honestly, I think his best boon bane is going to be minus HP with plus attack just because it's a brave weapon. You want to quad as much as possible. But the main issue with Drog is just that he's been replaced. Distant Counter Zephyr replaced him, and now Black Knight has replaced Distant Counter Zephyr. And then we have Arden, who is literally just a better Drog. He's literally just Drog, but better. I can't make it any more simpler than that to understand. It's really sad because Drog, it was a unit I was looking forward to building up, but there's just no point because he's been undervalued and undercut, and that is why I think he's been replaced heavily. Now let's take a look back at Echoes, as we're going to talk about Tobin. Now, Tobin, there's not a lot I can really say. So before I get into actually talking about Tobin, I just want to say, I know the image on screen is weird, but it's the best I can do. The website I'm using to get all these stats and information just doesn't have anything really like that for Tempest Trial units and Grand Hero Battle units. It's really weird, but I apologize, it's the best I could do. Also, I want to say, shout out to that one guy in the voting gauntlet that was like Team Ninian, that had that distant counter +1 merge Tobin. That is commitment right there. I love seeing crazy builds even for units like these, just because it shows how much people care about these units, and I love that stuff about heroes. That's pretty much all I can really say about Tobin, though. I mean, there's not a lot for me to say. I mean, his stat distribution, it exists. He's got good HP, slightly more than Alm, so he can make decent use of Panic Ploy, not gonna lie. But aside from that, he does have good physical bulk as well, so I guess that distant counter build was meant to counter archers? I don't really know. 32 defense is nothing to scoff at, especially on an infantry unit. His speed is really low. I mean, having less than 30 speed for a sword unit, I feel is really a death sentence just because sword units are so damn quick. So when you're a slow sword unit, you're just outclassed. You're just Hinata at that point. You're nothing more than fodder. And even then, Tobin isn't even fodder for himself. His attack is alright. I mean, the fact that you have to inherit a decent weapon onto him kind of sucks, but I mean, he's just... It's just like having another Hinata without the Fury. That's what I feel Tobin is. I don't really have a lot to say about him just because of how underwhelming he is. And that's why I put him on this list, just because you're not a fast infantry sword unit, there's not much to really say about you. So you know what? Shut up, Tobin. Now I'm just gonna rip the band-aid off on this one. The last unit I'm talking about in this video is Cheeta. Cheeta is especially disappointing for me, just because I love Fire Emblem teams. I love Flyers so much in Fire Emblem. I love them in this game. It's just, when I see bad Flyers like this, it just hurts me. Especially as a sword unit too. Cheeta, she is very fast and very tanky in terms of resistance. However, she has mediocre defense at best, and a pretty low HP stat, especially considering she came out when HP stats were a bit inflated compared to what they are now. My main issue with Cheeta is the fact that she hits, say it with me now people, like a wet noodle. You already knew what I was gonna say. Cheeta just has no attack stat, and it's disappointing. She's so weak, I don't understand why either. I've played Shadow Dragon a little bit. She had the Wing Spear, damn it. She hit like a truck in that game. But heroes, swords, oh my gosh, it's just Paula is like a budget option if you can't use Alincia because you don't have her, in which case she just blows her out of the water, but it's just, she is easily the worst sword flyer in the game. I'd say she's the worst flyer in the game, but I don't even know enough to say that. It's just, her attack stat is so damn bad, and it doesn't matter if you have good speed and res. If you hit something and you can't do any worthwhile damage, what the hell is the point of using you? Flyers just naturally have good res, so it's not like her good res is a special niche exclusive to her. No, it's not. It's why I don't like her. It's why she's bad. It's why she's on this list. Sweetie, what are you doing? Please make yourself buff, Cheeta. Please. And those are 5 sword units which I feel are just kind of meh at this state in Heroes. Let me know some units that you think are just really underpowered. They don't even have to be just sword. I like to hear thoughts on axes, mages, lance units. Let me know who you think is underpowered. Now, for those of you who wanted top 5 sword units, I think I'll be ready next week to make this video. I hope everything goes out smoothly. My recording software has been on the fritz, but everything should be working just fine now. With that all being said, guys, I'm gonna get up out of here, and I hope you guys have good luck raising heroes that are better than these guys. Peace.